This video presents content from Chapter 4 of the book Sustainable Living and World Peace. This video is the second of two videos on a section entitled Whether We Have an Enemy or Someone We Can Engage With, and Whether We Have Peace or Conflict are really a matter of perception, choice, and virtue. Poor diplomacy and problem solving of our leaders has led to countries around the world being in a cycle of always looking to increase military spending and threatening armed conflict in different areas. This happens in the United States for the simple reason that our leaders are poor at communicating the greatness of America. Judging from their words and behaviors, it is also quite possible that they do not fully comprehend where America's true greatness stems from. This makes them bad choices to be leaders of our nation and as leaders of humanity. They are always ready to resort to military solutions or economic manipulating because they have seen in the past that using military power or economic coercion can be perceived as a sign of good leadership. We need to see these actions for what they really are, which are misguided means of overcoming their failures at communicating and poor efforts at resolving international crises. The people of other nations and groups often do not understand that we believe in equality and freedom for all people. They do not get the sense that we support equality, sovereignty, and self-determination without interference for all nations. The rhetorical way our leaders attempt to communicate is easily contorted into propaganda by their leaders. Our leaders then follow up these failings with military threats or economic coercion. Our leaders have failed at imaginative negotiating and have demonstrated the inability to dream up how peaceful solutions could be achieved in any circumstance. When they are ineffective at communicating the good intentions of the United States, or possibly do not understand the goodness of the United States, then a simple way to cop out is always to look for a coercive or military solution. After quickly giving up on trying to figure out how to solve a problem with a sustainable and peaceful solution, threatening to unleash our attack dog and have the military take care of the situation, or resorting to some type of coercion such as threatening economic sanctioning, seems to be our leaders' go-to answers. Take a moment and think of some conflicts or adversarial relationships that currently exist and try to figure out how these situations arose. Think further back in time and try to get to some of the initial causes of these problems. Think of how maybe we could have initiated things differently or responded differently once the situation began to escalate that could have resulted in peaceful and sustainable solutions that actually made us stronger in the end and was a virtuous act. Relationships are a two-way street, and everything is not our fault. But we must focus on responses and actions and not wait for a good situation to just happen or to necessarily come from them. How could we have communicated better with the other side? What could we have told them that would have given them assurance of their security and not see us as a threat, and allowed mutual respect, trust, and cooperation to create a peaceful and sustainable solution? Some may think that we have little control over how others behave, but how we act and the beliefs others have about us greatly influences actions and responses from them. Look at the modern international conduct of the United States and think of how some of our actions or rhetoric potentially could be construed as threatening or provocative, thus eliciting hostile responses. Opening the door to engagement and positive interactions allows a chance to overcome the things that have perpetuated the belief that different peoples and nations are enemies or adversaries. Our relationships and the experiences we have in our relationships are constructed from our own expectations to a large degree. We may be very suspicious of certain nations and hesitant to commit to an agreement with some people or nations we have had bad relationships with. However, if we are unwilling to engage, communicate, and negotiate from a personally sincere position, then there most likely will be no progress. We must always clearly tell other nations and their people what we are about so that they begin to understand where our greatness really comes from. We must always be willing to work toward peace that is mutually beneficial to all human beings. Express our willingness to do this explicitly and not just wait for the other side to initiate the process. Sincere communication, common human virtue, and appropriate cooperative action even among traditional adversaries, will bring about virtuous, sustainable, and prosperous relationships.